Today you will learn how to build an app that allows you to change the font color of any text that you type into the app. The first thing that you want to do is open your web browser and enter google.com into the address bar. Once you get into the Google search engine, you're going to want to type in MIT App Inventor 2. And then you're going to click on the first link that pops up, MIT App Inventor 2. You will need a Gmail account to log in, so log into your Gmail account or your school's Google account. We are now at the MIT App Inventor. This is a tool that allows you to build apps. To start building our app, we're going to click on the Start New Project button on the top of the left side of the home page. Before we start working, we need to name our project. Let's call our project Text Colors. After you realize how much fun this is, you might decide to build more apps. So using a name that helps you remember what the program does or what the app does will make it easier to find it later. Now that we've named our project, we can click OK. We are now in the design window of App Inventor, and this is where we set up the different components of our app. We do this by using the palette on the left side of the screen. This section here is important because it contains all the different components that you want to use in your app, such as animations, images, and text boxes. The different options over here under User Interface contain different components which allow your users to interact with the app that you make. And you can set these different components to your app by clicking on and dragging the different items into the viewer screen right over here. Okay, let's start. Because our app will need a button, we're going to click on this button and we're going to drag it into the screen preview. This button interface will now allow the user to click on it in order to produce the results that we want it to produce. And in our case, we want the color of the text to change. But we still have a little bit more work to do in order for the user to be able to do that. Now let's look at the Components panel over here on the right side. Button 1 should be nested right under there. This is where all the different components that you've selected from the palette, they will appear right over here in the Components panel. With button 1 highlighted, let's scroll down a bit and click the Rename button down here. A box will pop up in the center, prompting you to choose a new name for the button. Under New Name, we're going to enter Color Button. Always choose names to help you remember what the button is doing. Click OK. Now, because we want our user to be able to type into the app, we need a component for that. So let's go over to the left side of our screen under User Interface and select a component that will allow the user to do just that. We are going to select Text Box by clicking and dragging it into the screen preview. If you look at the Components panel now, you'll notice that Text Box 1 is nested right under Color Button. With Text Box 1 highlighted, we're going to scroll down and select the Rename button, and we're going to set the new name to Name Box. Now let's click OK. Let's look at the Properties panel in our design window. This is where we change the settings of our different components. Let's start with the text box component that we named Name Box. First, let's make sure that it's highlighted, and then let's go over to the right side, the Properties panel. We're going to scroll down and find Hint. And in this box, we're going to type in the words, Enter Name Here. And click Enter. We are using this hint feature within properties to help the user or to prompt the user to enter his name into the text box. So in other words, these 3 different words will appear next to the text box within the app. Now let's go ahead and work with the properties of this button component. So we're going to click on Color Button in the Components panel, and we're going to move over to the Properties panel, and we're going to look for text. So let's scroll down and find text. In this box, we're going to type in Change Color. And the reason why we're using these words, change color, is because that is the button that the user will click on in order for the color of the text to change. We're going to click enter, and when you scroll up, you notice the change appears in the screen preview. Now that we have set our different components, it's time to tell our app what to do. So let's start programming. To do that, we're going to leave the designer window and we're going to go into blocks. So let's click on the blocks button on the top right. This will be our second work area. The block screen here allows us to control how users can interact with the components that we selected in the designer mode. Okay, let's look over on the left side of our screen, and under screen 1, right under blocks, you will see the different components that we had selected. In blocks, we can tell this color button what to do when users click on it. We're going to click on this color button to bring up a menu of blocks. Oh, look at all these different options. We're going to select this first one because it says when color button click, so we're going to click on it and drag it over here. And the reason why we chose this versus the other ones is because when the user clicks on this button, we want it to do something. Now let's look back to the blocks panel over here, and we're going to find name box. We're going to click on name box to bring up the menu of different blocks. We're going to scroll down and find the one that says Set Name Box Text Color to, and we're going to drag it over to our screen. This block allows us to choose what happens to the text box we created when the user clicks on the button. Now let's move back over to the blocks panel and find the section that says colors. It's right over here in gray. This is where we choose what color we want the text box to change to. You can choose any color you want. I'm going to select this color. It's now time for the super fun part. Clicking these different blocks together. We need to make sure the different blocks fit together in a logical order so that when the user types into the text box and clicks on the color button, the text or the user's name will change to the color we chose. And in this case, it's pink. So let's click and drag this block, the Set Name Box block, into the slot within the When Color Button block. And then, as you notice, we're going to hear a click. Now let's click and drag this color block into the slot on the end of the Set Name Box block. And now our app is complete. You can now use your Android device to test the app that you have just completed.